Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Truth Report. And we've got a popular friend back with us today, Bo Polny. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Noah. God bless you, and look forward to talking to you today.
Hey, me too. And let me just say, you are back by popular demand, as always. Sometimes I just got to get Bo on myself because I got to figure out what's happening next. And I always love talking to him. We have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, a lot of Trump stuff and a lot of crypto stuff. Last of the housekeeping announcements is I always like to say these things get shared and clipped and spread all over the place. So I always like to say that today is February 5th, and it's about 5 o'clock Central Time here. And we've got Bo with us, and we've got Bitcoin at about 96,500. XRP is at about 238. So for historical purposes, that's where we're at. So, all right, without further ado, Bo, you absolutely nailed it. And a lot of times we have you on and we try to do it strategically when you're saying, hey, something big's coming, big move's coming, big move to the upside's coming. And we're going to talk about some of that exactly today. But you had something in your private newsletter recently, and let me just share that screen right here. There we go. Bo, you've blacked out some of the rest of it here because this is a private paid service that you run. Everything you give away on these interviews is free in your time, and you usually spend an hour or an hour and a half with us for free. Your slides are free, but you do run this crypto newsletter where you talk about what's coming, the turn points, what to expect in the next few days. And so everyone's going to get a little sneak peek here. You put this as slide number 1. This was, and I can vouch for this because I love reading these things. February 1st, you said expect a short-lived price drop into Monday and Tuesday, February 3rd. And boy, oh boy, we went from about 105,000 for Bitcoin. I think it maybe got as low as 92,000. And that was Sunday heading into Monday. So kudos, Bo. You nailed another one.
Well, actually, what happened was on Saturday, I was looking at the charts, and we've got the patterns. Nothing's changed for months already. We're following the patterns. They're playing out beautifully. But I was watching Bitcoin as it was like, you're right. I think it was like at 105,000, and it's again 100,000 is a very huge psychological number. If you think about it, 100,000 Bitcoin. So it's been battling that for quite a long time. It went up to we predicted that it would bounce and shoot up to $100,000, and that was in November. I wrote in my newsletter back, we showed that one too. That was written in July, or is it August? But it was July, it was last summer. And I said, don't be surprised, we're looking for $100,000 Bitcoin in November. And I missed it by $200. It hit 99,800 in the month of November. And then in December, it went up to, it went through 100,000. Actually, and interestingly enough, those who follow my pattern work, it did it on December 4th, which is interesting because that's the 124 number, which the Lord revealed to me is bottom line is that's the entirely a biblical calculation. And actually, we haven't done a podcast in a while because I've been really quiet. The Lord's really revealed to me an incredible amount of information all of last week with regards to that 124 number and what it is and how to calculate that number moving forward into the future with incredible accuracy. So aside from going back to to the Bitcoin, so on December 4th it broke through 100,000 and went up to as high as I think it's like 107 maybe, and then it's been bouncing around. It could have gone higher in December, but it topped out just over 100,000, and now we're basically it's like this massive battle that we're seeing occur at the 100,000. It'll go up through 100,000, come back down, go up through 100,000, come back down. So it's playing the yo-yo game at the $100,000 level because, again, it's a very large psychological number. But when it leaves 100,000, the next target, is quite easily in the $150,000 range, and it's going to happen very quickly. I do have a time point for that, and if you read my reports, it's in my reports. But again, so knowing all that, what I'm trying to say here is that we know that there's a very big pattern still to the upside. But I was looking at Bitcoin this weekend, and I'm like, on Friday I'm looking at the report, and I'm looking at 105,000, and I see this massive drop it's going to do on Monday. I'm like, well, maybe I should do a quick little write up on it. So I did there's a 2-page write up I wrote. And I said, hey, I don't want people freaking out that it dropped. And so I put it out on Saturday. And then specifically on Sunday, we just saw that it started cavitating and plunging straight down. It went, I think you're right, it went down to like 92,000 from 105. So a very large drop. And so now, again, we're back up, but it's at the like you're saying right here, it's like 96,000. So again, all of this is not random. That's the point that you've started to realize here a long time ago, Noah. You're starting to see that these charts aren't random. There's history in the charts, and you'll see when I write the reports, usually on page 2 of the private reports, I put a historical chart pattern, and then below it, so the historical chart pattern shows you what's happened, but also what's coming. So in other words, it shows you a prior chart from years ago. I don't show what it is, but then from that, below it, I show the current price of what Bitcoin's doing. And so knowing that, again, from the scriptures, is that which has been will be again. We watch the pattern replay itself. And what have we been watching for years now, Noah? The pattern replaying itself. So it's incredible to watch all this, and it's real, it's happening. And this was just another example of knowing what's going to happen before it happens. And probably the best example of the one that the podcast we did when I was in Europe. Remember that one, Noah?
Oh, yeah.
Remember? And then I said, hey, don't be surprised in November. This was in October. I said, don't be surprised in November of 2020. So this is October 2022. I said, don't be surprised next month we see Bitcoin collapse through 20,000 on or about November 8th. And exactly on November 8th, it collapsed $5,000 down to $15,000, and then we end up finding that was the FTX scandal.
Yes.
And again, it was nothing more than seeing historic chart pattern that was indicating that somewhere right around the 8th of November in the year 2022, that there was going to be a plunge, and there was a plunge on the exact day. So just like we were expecting that vertical liftoff in the first part of November, that took Bitcoin up to just under 100,000. The same cycle foretold that we were going to get a drop in Bitcoin Sunday into Monday, and we got it perfectly. So all of that said, there's nothing random happening here. So those that were freaking out about Bitcoin crashing, we knew it was coming, and it wasn't a crash. It was just a short, as the third word there is short-lived price drop. Okay. And that's all we've witnessed. That's all we've seen so far. So again, Bitcoin's still in an up cycle. It's got a big move vertical. A lot of excitement is still to come. And again, I know that you specifically like to look and watch XRP. XRP is a very strong coin right now. It's one of the stronger coins. So I've been writing on that one. Usually XRP, it's been pretty much in all my newsletters, usually page 1. Because that one is starting to lead the race here for a window of time is going to take over, and it's going to move very well. So on this drop, I did, in terms of I added to my XRP position because I know XRP it's got some good targets.
Hey, there, Bo, you are an honorary member of the XRP family. I love it.
So XRP, it's got some very good targets. XRP is directly related to the World Economic Forum, and that's going to be an issue in the future. But right now, it's a wonderful play because, again, these people who are running the world have plans to control and enslave humanity. But I serve an awesome God, and I know my God's about to intervene on the world, and all of their plans are going to flip upside down, and they're going to unfortunately, all of their plans that they're setting the stage for themselves is going to bless us. It's going to bless humanity, and that's what's coming. So it's wild and exciting to see what's coming. But again, biblical things are afoot. And like I said, pre-interview with you here, these people that run the world, they're not going to back down, okay? They still control mainstream media. You turn the news on, and CNN, MSNBC, they're still talking nonsense. But, the nonsense they're talking with, what you and I would consider nonsense, that's the narrative that they're pushing across the world to be a truth. You see what I'm saying? So they're creating a narrative which is a total lie. They've been doing this for generations already, but it's been so obvious here recently in the past few years. So this needs to come to an end. And the only way it's going to come to an end, Noah, is a biblical intervention, which you and I and we have spoken about and we're waiting for. And I believe we are very close to this event going down.
Yeah, well, Bo, let me just before I switch my screen off of this and we switch topics and get into some of that stuff you're just talking about. I just want to say one more time, you just nailed it. Not only, and so I pulled up some of the headlines from the crash or the liquidation or whatever you want to call it from Sunday into Tuesday. They're calling it the largest liquidation event of 2025. Now that's not too big because it's only 2 months into the year. But if you scroll down here, it says bigger liquidations than the COVID crash and the FTX crashes. So I just love that you not only did you say, hey, a wipeout's coming here, and you warned everybody, but you also said it's going to be short-lived. And it sure was. It went down and it came right back up. And so you got the move and you got the time frame, and I was just blown away by that. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you back on today. After seeing that the last couple of days, I just thought that was amazing, and I wanted to show everybody. We don't always give sneak peeks of your newsletter like that, but that's a little sneak peek for everybody to see that. We'll talk more at the end about a little bit more on crypto and a little bit more on XRP. I think Bo's already given you a few insights here, but good things are coming. I get a ton of questions, Bo, about XRP. Good things are coming for XRP. It's in Bo's report. He'll tell you a little bit more here at the end of our interview. And then some of the more exacting information is proprietary for Bo's newsletter. But good things are coming, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Also, hit like and subscribe if you would. That helps the algorithm push this out to more people so more people can see it. Wherever you're watching this, it'll be up on my channel and Bo's channel. So wherever you're watching it, just hit like and subscribe, and that'll help more people see this message. So Bo, that was awesome. I think people enjoyed seeing that. Let me get your slides back up here.
Yeah, XRP was kind of fun to watch because I had some price. I was guessing, it's going to drop. And I had some price targets, that I had, so I want to pick some stuff up. And it even went lower than I thought it would go for a short window. It was really fun to watch. It literally went from like $3.25, $3-ish and change. And it dropped all the way down, and it bounced off of $2. That was pretty sizable in 24 hours. It lost a third of its value in 24 hours. And then only by the end of Monday, Monday, it shot right back up to like $2.70.
That's right.
In a matter of a few hours. So very volatile move. But again, like I wrote in the last report, it's like you have these volatile moves, and these are intentional. Okay, why you have a volatile move like that is, a sharp move to the downside and then a sharp reversal is because it's called removing the weak hands. I mean, basically, people that go in there with leveraged positions, they might buy these coins on leverage. So they might go 10x or 20x, so they're holding these leveraged positions.
Right.
And they wipe them out. So in other words, in a matter of a few minutes, they drop the price like that, thinking that it's never going to go that low, but then it does. See, that's why the silliest thing that I honestly believe people can do is buy and hold cryptocurrencies on leverage. Extremely dangerous, because look what happens. In a 24-hour window, you saw XRP drop, it lost 1/3 of its value overnight. It probably hit huge stops only to reverse a few hours later, right back up again. So again, trading, if people are buying coins, that's fantastic. But if they're really going in on leverage in these positions, that's a wonderful way to lose all your money. So I hope people are not doing that. But
hey,
yeah,
that's really good advice, Bo. And we always say around here that we find this stuff fun, and it's a hobby for me, and it's something that you've studied for a long time, but neither one of us is financial advisors, and we always say, we can't give you personalized financial advice. But I think we can say one thing. Trading and buying crypto on leverage is a really, really bad idea.
There are two different animals. Buying cryptocurrencies means you're investing in your financial future, right? Which is awesome. It's like buying gold, buying silver. It's nothing wrong with that. But the moment you start buying cryptocurrencies and you leverage it at 100 to 1, 10 to 1, now you're actually doing foolish things, because you and I have seen these cryptos move over the years. In 24 hours, they might drop. They lose 50% of the value only to shoot right back up an hour later, and they wipe everybody out.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of that and XRP and everything, I've been buying XRP since 2017, and for the better part of that time, it's gone up and down, but for most of those 8 years, it's probably been around 40 or 50 cents from time to time, and it's gone up into the ones and the twos and the threes, but then it's spent a lot of time at 40 and 50 cents. 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. And I can't tell you how good it feels to say that XRP just crashed down to $2.40. That feels really good. I like that, Bo.
No, absolutely. Because when it went from like 50-cent range, you're right. And it went all the way up. And again, what do we write in the report? Heavy resistance at roughly $2.80 to $3 on XRP, right? And what did it do? In December, it went up right to the $3 range, and then it dropped straight down. And it's been battling at $3 for a long time. Why? Heavy resistance at $3. Resistance would be, if those that know what that means, it's like if you look up, there's a roof above your head. So it's really got to penetrate that roof, and that roof's like at $3. But once it gets through $3, it's going to break through aggressively. And it won't stop at like 4. No, it's going to go. I think from what I'm seeing, again, that's the first possible. And this is like a mild, this is not a hard resistance like $3. The first possible resistance comes in around $7. And so, in other words, once it goes through 3 with conviction, it's the next target easy is $7, and then there's higher prices above that. I think I know you have my reports, and there's a very solid resistance point higher up, and I believe that's going to be a definite stop point on this next run. So there's a run coming on XRP and Bitcoin and all coins. There's a solid resistance or a heavy resistance point. Much higher up, not a little bit, much higher up on XRP. It's in my report. But that heavy resistance, I believe, is definitely going to stop this next run. And then it's going to drop big from when it hits that roof. So again, the bigger the run vertical, the bigger the drop, right? So as much as we're saying, wow, it was fun to watch XRP go from 50 cents to $3, right? So it dropped down to 2. You're right. Like what a blessing, right? You bought it at 50 cents, right? So you're still up 4 times at $2, right? So you're still in huge profits.
Right.
But think about the move that people that bought at $3, it dropped down to 2. You see what I'm saying? Yes. And so on this next run, it's not going to be to 7. It's going to go through 7 big time. Okay. And when it hits that next roof, that's going to be a solid roof. And then it's going to drop dollars, lots of dollars.
Yeah. Are we coming up on a time period? For a while, if XRP moved a penny, that was a big day. And then then it would move 10 cents in a day. We're coming up on a time where it's going to move $1 or more in a day. Is that right?
Well, it's going to start with $1, then it's going to go dollars in a day. Okay, so it's going to be wild. It's going to be fun to watch, and that's why again. So that's the point of understanding cycles, timing. So the report. If those who have my reports, you go back to January. You can look at December. There's been a date coming up here that hasn't changed. I fluctuated by 1 day back and forth, basically, but that date hasn't changed in months. There's a next cycle high that's coming, and it will be hit. That point will be hit right on schedule within 24 hours, most likely, and then it's going to drop huge once that target's hit. And that's just how the targets go. And then once the target's hit, it's going to drop huge. It's going to make another low point, and then it's going to turn again, just like we saw happen just this past week with Monday. And once it hits that low off this big high that's coming, then it's going to go really big. Okay, so there's an incredible opportunities, that are coming in cryptocurrencies. We have just embarked on the start of a massive bull market, and it's only begun. So as exciting as $2 to $3 is on XRP that you're referencing, again, that's a warm up to what's coming. And that's, again, the fun part about having cycles is, when you have these drops, first off, you already know they're coming. That's the cool part. Like, think about that. They're coming in advance. How crazy is that? But yet we do. And then for months now, we've actually had a cycle point in the future, in the near future coming here, which I know is going to get nailed, to within a 24-hour window, because they have in the past. And then once that window gets hit, it's going to be, I wrote in my report, again, that'll be an important time point for myself, at least. I'm not telling people what to do, but I will be exiting a chunk of my position just because the drop's going to be big. And so, so that's the point of playing cycles and understanding. Again, then the other side, people can just hold on and just keep holding on. But again, cryptocurrencies in their nature have huge moves, both up and down. So in an upwards direction and in a downwards direction. Think about that. Those who watched the Bitcoin move, especially the alternate coins. Remember, the last top was it 2021. So Bitcoin topped out at 70,000 range in 2021, and then it dropped from 70 down to 15,000. Well, that's a huge drop. But think of it this way, right? Look at the alternate coins. Most of the alternate coins lost 90% of their value. Mm-hmm. Think about that. They went up so high but by the bottom, they lost 90% of their value. So again, cryptocurrencies, if you don't have cycles, they are a wild animal.
Yes,
and again, there's another big move coming. We're now in bull market season, so it's a fun time to be involved right now. And at least the Lord has blessed us to know what's coming. And so, you and I get on this show to let people know to not fear, at least right now.
Yeah, that's great. And we'll do a little more crypto at the end of the show too. But for anybody that wants more detail, like I mentioned, Bo gives away so much value here on the show for free. He's already told you a lot, and we're only about 25 minutes in to this interview. But if you want that more detailed day-by-day, turn-by-turn info, it's not for everybody, but if that's you, if you want that, you go to gold2024cast.com. I've got the link is actually at the top of the screen right here. I'll also put the link down below anywhere you're watching this. And then you can go there and use the code WLT49. That's going to give you 50% off. And you'll, as soon as you sign up, if you decide you want to sign up, you don't have to, of course. But if you decide to sign up, when you get in there, you'll have access to all of the past reports, which I always think is one of the funnest things to go back and look. And you can see, go pull up that February 1st edition from 5 days ago, and you can see Bo telling you about the big crash coming in on Saturday or on Sunday and Monday. And then you can go back and check some other stuff. I think those are so fun. And then you'll get the future editions as well. But Bo's bringing a lot of value here today on the show, bringing a lot of alpha, as the finance bros say. So thank you for that, Bo. One other question here before we really dig into your slides, because there's great stuff in there. And this might be something that you'd cover in your slides, or maybe you don't know. But I thought it was an interesting question. This news caught us totally by surprise last night. I don't know if you saw it, Bo. I'm sure you did. But President Trump standing up there with Netanyahu and just announcing that the United States is going to take over Gaza, and we're just going to run it and own it and build on it. I was not expecting that. And quite frankly, I don't know how I feel about it yet. Trump sees things that we don't always see, and he's 5 steps ahead. And so I give him the benefit of the doubt because his track record backs it up. But I don't know that I like us being more integrated over there. I'd like to get out of it instead of getting deeper in. But any thoughts from you on, Andy specifically says, do you think the Gaza News is setting up for the third temple to be built? Or any other thoughts you have on that breaking news?
Sure. Why don't you go to my X or Twitter account, if you can just load that.
Okay, sure.
And I made it when this came out yesterday. Actually, I made a post, and I think it'll address your question. And then I got a lot to expand on that. And I think you're gonna like what I have to say.
Oh, I did see this. Okay, here we go. I saw this, Bo. Yeah, it was good.
So again,
right.
All of this is in divine timing. There's no randomness to what's going on. Everything is happening for a reason. And again, those who bless Israel will be blessed. So someone made this. I didn't make this photo, but I thought it was very entertaining. But understand that photo you're looking at, the golden, the dome, that's been the battle for 4,000 years. That's the Dome of the Rock. That's the 10 feet of land that's been fought over for thousands of years.
Yes.
Okay, this is the hub of battles for thousands of years, and so very important when you look at this. If you look right above that, it's,
now, Bo, I don't know the area well enough, but that dome and the Dome of the Rock and all that stuff, is that actually in this Gaza Strip that we're all talking about, or is it next to it, or do you know?
No, this isn't. No, this is in Jerusalem.
Yes, okay.
But again, it just all ties in. But there's a reason for the Gaza, I believe, and I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
What I know about it so far. But Israel's it's very important in terms of Trump ties in directly with Israel. It's interesting, Trump, Trum with a P. So if you look at that, May 14th, 1948. So May 14th is a critical time point with regards to Israel. So May 14th, 1948, Trum, Trum. Oh. An. Recognizes Israel as independent after 70 years. Okay. And then, independent. Then 70 years later, to the exact day, on May 14th, Trump moves the embassy to Jerusalem.
Yeah, historic.
Now you add 7 years and you have this May 14th. Watch Israel. So what I'm showing is that all of these things that are happening are very important. If you scroll, then you look at a little lower. I Googled the definition of Trum. Trum has multiple definitions, including a Middle English word and a card term. Trum is a Middle Eastern word which means steadfast, firm, or protected. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Trump, then you also heard of the Trump card. So I just find it interesting that Truman and Trump, what they did with the reference to Israel.
Yeah.
And so I find that all interesting. But again, because it's all by godly design, it's not interesting. It's not a coincidence. It's by design. And that's what we're seeing happening right now. So that's what's going on with Israel. So there's a bigger plan to all of this. So you brought up Israel. I got to give Brandon Biggs some credit on this. Well, give him all the credit on this one. He actually texted. So he texted me last night. He said, "Hey, do you know what's going on with Trump?" So we talked about this, and then he sent me something, a screenshot of an oil company, and he said, "Do you know if there's any Kim Clement prophecies in reference to oil?" I'm like, interesting. So I pulled up my Kim Clement data, and I did a bunch of Google search this morning, so I didn't really know you can be asking this question. But in reality, I found some prophecies in reference to Israel, oil, and what Trump's doing there.
Oh, wow.
So page 16, go ahead and read them.
Back to the slides.
Go back to the slide deck. So these are the Kim Clement prophecies. So this is hot. This is, first off, Brandon Biggs gets the credit for this. But basically, he says this is huge. People can do whatever they want with it. So I basically put the slide together. I put the prophecy together for you, and you can do whatever you want with it. But go ahead and read them.
Okay, right there, right?
There it is.
Okay, so I am reading, this is May 20th, 2001, and this is Kim Clement speaking.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Kim. He says, the Spirit of the Lord says, as your prayers are coming forth from your spirit, I will take them and I'm going to turn them around and I'm going to answer you tonight, says the Lord. If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and I will heal the land. Okay, that's right out of the Bible.
And that's what's coming. Okay, so
Yep.
God's soon to heal our land. Okay, so this is a very relevant prophecy.
Okay.
Again, it's 2001, but it's very relevant to what's about to happen.
Yeah. So
because God's about to intervene on the world and heal our land because we overturned Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
They're no longer the petrodollar contracts null and void. So God's about to heal our land, which means this prophecy is relevant to present day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 24 years ago. Wow. Okay, so he says, as you begin to pray tonight, I'm going to begin to shake the Middle East with my power and with my glory, says the Lord. Israel, 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 there's oil coming out of your land. Israel, there's oil coming out of your soil. There's oil going to come forth, says the Spirit of the Lord, and you shall laugh at your enemies. You shall laugh at your enemies because I will raise up within you a sound of victory, says the Spirit of the Lord. As my people pray tonight, I will heal this reserved, and I will cause the political powers to begin to fall on their knees and begin to pray. I began with the praying, and they are mocking him, says the Lord. But because he is praying, I'm going to do something fresh in this land that it shall come to pass that 18 months from now I will cause every church in this nation to be filled with my fire and filled with my power and anointing, says the Lord. Everybody pray.
Okay, so that what he's saying there, in addition to this, what we're saying with the oil, this is a time where God, the Holy Spirit comes, and this is the great revival. And they got the Bob Jones prophecy talks about the Chiefs winning the Super. When they win the Super Bowl, now if they win, this will be a three-peat. They've also already won in 2020, so it's like 4 in this decade, but this will be 3 consecutive if they win this time around, which they probably will. But this is, and then that leads into the billion-soul harvest, the greatest harvest the world's ever seen. That's exactly what Kim is prophesying right there. When he said the church will be filled with fire, that's the fire of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so that is a very relevant prophecy, and he's saying in that prophecy there's going to be oil in Israel. Read the next one. This one's fun.
All right. Let me get over here. Okay, so this is February 26th, 2003, so 22 years ago, and again, this is Kim Clement. Okay, where is the oil, you say? What oil, says the Lord? I have oil reserved and I have oil hidden in Israel.
Why do you think Trump wants to go there? Come on.
Wow.
He ain't dumb.
I have kept it in the foot and I have kept it hidden away for all this time. I will laugh at your enemies if you would do the same. If you would recognize and understand that there is no need for the economy of this nation will change in 7 months and the people will rejoice greatly.
Now,
for even as Solomon's
relevant to present day. There's a time window for you there. Go ahead.
Even as Solomon said, there's a time for war and a time for peace. There is a time to live and a time to die. You are soon approaching your time of peace, an extended time of peace where I will bring victory for you, says the Lord.
That's what's coming. We're going to talk with this in the presentation. God's about to intervene, and that brings peace. Go ahead, Noah.
Well, I just, as I was reading that, I know, Kim has also talked about alternative sources of energy. And I don't know, it just struck me as I was reading this. I mean, we have oil here in the United States. I wonder if all this reference to oil is maybe whatever fuels this alternative energy that's going to come out. And maybe it's for some reason special over there in Israel, whatever that source material is.
Right, and there is prophecy about that. We're going to discover a new energy source that will not even be oil. Okay, so there's another energy source that's going to be soon to be discovered, and it's all tied in with these prophecies right here. So all of this is coming. This is so awesome that these people are trying to, control humanity, but God's got a bigger plan, and then he's going to unleash it all and give it all to his people because the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. We are to be the head, not the tail, which we're the tail right now. So this is a complete and utter flip that's coming, and we're so close to these events going down. Go ahead and read the last prophecy.
All right. December 3rd, 2005. So that'd be 20 years ago. Kim Clement. I spoke about Israel tonight. I spoke about New Year. Not sure if it's the Jewish New Year, but I felt that we needed to pray and bring Israel before God because Messiah, Yeshua, is about to bring the people of Israel, a movement that will raise some of the greatest apostles and prophets. Why not America? Why not Europe? There too. God said, in Israel, oil at last, oil at last.
Okay. So that takes us to two very interesting points. We referenced oil. There will be hidden oil in Israel. Okay. And you need Trump in there to get to the hidden oil. So that's why he's going there. This is crazy, but this is what's happening. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the answer to your question. So,
wow.
Andy, who asked the question, that's what's going on because God's already spoken what is going on. So very exciting what's going to happen. And then secondly, the last prophecy, I spoke about Israel tonight. I spoke about New Year. Now, this is important. Okay.
Right,
so this event starts to manifest in the new year. Now, how many times and how many podcasts have we done, Noah, together talking about understanding time? So there you go. This is important because this is, first off, not even God's calendar. So that prophecy was about God's New Year. I'll answer that one in a second. This is Roman New Year. We actually are using this calendar, but yet we're deceived. Because if you look at this, this is off a wall that was made hundreds of years ago during the time of Rome, and they took it off the wall. This is a mosaic. And if you look at that mosaic, what you're seeing is March is the start of the year. Remember, we've talked about this. And the simplest example I can give you is the number Dece. December. Dece is 10. Another would be simple, would be Sept. Sept is 7.
It's
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say it's so fascinating, Bo. And you know, all this stuff, we've had these calendars our whole lives. Do any of us ever stop to think about this or question it? But you're exactly right. Sept, a septagon, is 7 sides. An octagon is 8 sides. But October's the 10th month. It's not the 8th. Why? December, Deca. Deca means 10. Why is December the 12th month instead of the 10th? And you were the first person I ever heard mention this. And it's just fascinating. Oh, and stack onto that the fact that, well, why should the year begin in the dead of winter? Why shouldn't the year begin in springtime? Anyway, just fascinating.
And that's a great point you make, because basically a new year should start in springtime. The new year shouldn't start in the dead of winter. We've done several podcasts about this. So it's very important to understand the times and seasons we live in, and also understand when New Year's truly begins. New Year's doesn't begin in January. But again, if you were the devil and you wanted to trick everybody and have the world miss appointments, then what would you do? Like if you were in bed and your wife turned off your clock for you, and you need the clock to wake up every single morning, and so if your clock gets unplugged, or they move your cell phone out of the room so the alarm doesn't go off, then what happens is you sleep in, and what you do, you miss your appointment. Let's say you had an important appointment for a job interview, and but you sleep in, so you miss the appointment. See, that's the point of how Satan operates. He wants you. First off, he hates you. He wants you dead. And so because he doesn't like you, can't stand you, because you're made in God's image, he wants the worst for you. That's why when you read John 10:10, it goes, Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's what it is. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Whereas Jesus comes to give you life more abundantly. So understand that because evil's on the earth, thank you, Adam and Eve, because of evil being on the earth, he wants you to miss very important appointments with who? God. See, God's got appointments. They're called feasts. Rosh Hashanah, Tabernacles. Those are not Jewish feasts. They're God's appointments. They're God's feasts, who he then gave those dates to the Jewish people. Now, the Jewish people keep those appointments. So they have their own calendar, but it's not their calendar, it's God's calendar. And so we're going to talk about God's calendar in a second. But right now we're at the Roman calendar. So understand, the Roman calendar is a calendar of confusion, but yet we use it. So the point is right now, today is February 5, but if you look, I got in blue there, it's the last month of the Roman year.
Yeah. Well,
very important to understand.
Bo, when you reminded me, you talk about Satan coming to confuse things and steal, kill, destroy. The Bible says God put the sun, moon, and stars up in the sky for signs and seasons, and the devil can't get those out of the sky. So what's the next best thing? If he can't stop us from seeing them, I might as well confuse our calendars.
Beautiful. And that's actually very interesting when you brought that up, the point you brought up, because last week and for the past many months now, I've been studying, the eclipses and the meaning. Everybody, they look at the eclipse of the day that, the X is formed or the day that enters the United States, and they think those are biblical day things going to happen. But what they are is there's what God so clearly illustrated to me, which is from the Revelation 12 sign, using the eclipse, the eclipses that make the X, the Star of Jacob. What he revealed to me incredibly, Noah, was there specifically points to start counting. So you're right. Satan can confuse the clocks, but he can't confuse and change the day the eclipse occurred. So the eclipse occurred on the 8th of April, 2024. You can't change that. Mm-hmm. That's the date that it happened. Satan can do everything to change the paper clocks, but not what's in the heavens. And the next day was actually Nisan 1. And where that's written, if you want to read Exodus, it's Exodus 12:2, and it says that's where you start counting. And so that was actually the day after the eclipse last year was the first day of God's calendar. And so this year, so if you want to know, well, when does that happen this year? That's on page 6. So if you look at page 6, this is March, this is next year, okay? So I'm sorry, next month. So this is March next month. This is interesting because if you look at this chart on page 6, there it is there it is right there. What you're looking at, believe it or not, there's 3 New Years here. The Roman New Year starts March 1. The Julian calendar, which is actually the calendar that was used at the time of Jesus, the New Year starts on the 14th, which happens to be Purim. Interesting. And then the Hebrew New Year, meaning God's New Year, which we just read in that prophecy. Okay. So the prophecy is referencing this one, Nisan 1, which is March 30th. Mm-hmm. Which is Exodus 12:2. And so what I'm showing is that 1 month has 3 potential New Year's dates, but basically the Romans would be the first, Advent or Julian would be the middle of, and then God's New Year starts on Nisan 1. What I'm showing is everything that's been happening right now, the chaos that's happening is all of these people, they're working, Satan's in control. That's when you turn the media on, the news, you're still seeing, they're trying to spew out a narrative, but yet the Trump's people, they're saying, hey, these are all lies. They're trying to expose everything, but yet, evil still has power. And if they're not going to go out without the biggest fight in human history. Okay. So as much as we think this is going to be smooth sailing, oh, people, you ain't seen anything yet. This is going to get crazy because these people will not go out without a fight. Now, if you look right in there, there's red letters. It's a big red band. It's on that chart. It says U.S. short-term war conflict. Now, it's my guess, but I do know that we're going to have there's expected to be something going on with the U.S. dollar as March begins. And so if there's an attack on the dollar, we could very, very sharply see a military action in the United States because these people are it's going to be attack on the dollar. So something's soon to go down here and we're about to go, I believe we're going to go military. Again, I want to use the word short-lived because I do know it will be short-lived. But again, it's going to get very scary because these people that run the world do not want to lose power. They do not want to lose power. And, they're freaking out with everything that Trump's exposing right now. Look what, there's U.S. aid. Okay. What a total scam that is, right? What they've been exposing right now. Yeah. Talk about it's a multi-billion-dollar slush fund to buy and pay off politicians, countries, just the craziest stuff that they were using that money for. And again, that's only the piece we know so far. So expect March to be wild. I believe, if I had to, my best guess right now, somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of that week right there, U.S. military conflict. Okay? It's going to be scary. I don't know more than that, but I would suspect there's a very huge probability of military conflict then. The United States, there's still a prophecy of the United States goes dark. Lord revealed to me years ago, like the story of Lazarus. He's dead in the tomb.
Yeah.
And then, but why was Lazarus dead in the tomb? Why did Jesus wait 4 days? Why? So that you might see the glory of God. Now, this is interesting because if this is going to be a type of a Lazarus death and resurrection, you have to, when you go and read scriptures, Lazarus, he died, but the point, we don't know the day, but it was after Hanukkah, which was in the Christmas time frame. But he was resurrected and he was having dinner with Jesus on Nisan. Nisan 8 or something like that, which means that he was already resurrected before Passover, which means that it will be somewhere in, I would best guess, somewhere in late March, very early April. So that will be like so something happens if this is a Lazarus type event where the United States goes dark, and then the lights come back on, and then everything starts to change afterwards. There's also the Kim Clement prophecy that you and I played. I'm not going to play it again, but we played our last interview we did, and it talked about beginning January 21. Well, interesting. Trump's elected on the 20th, inaugurated on the 20th. His first day in office is the 21st. And what was the prophecy? Beginning January 21. Between 70 and 100 days, the spirit of Pythos, bondage, begins to be destroyed in America. Okay, well, if slide 9 shows the 70 and 90th day, and what you're looking at is the entire month of April. So the entire month of April is that time point. So 70 days would be specifically April 1. And then between that, you've got Passover. Now, why Passover is so incredibly important is because of the events of history, and that's on page 12. I've mentioned this before, and I got to mention it again, because Passover is a time point in our world where things biblical happen. And what are they? Well, first off, the one, every Easter, Resurrection Sunday, is because Jesus was killed, nailed to a cross. That happened on Nisan 15. We had the angel of death, Israel, Egypt. Okay, the angel of death, 185,000 Assyrian soldiers killed in a single night. Belshazzar was killed that night. His kingdom, Babylon, fell. These are just examples Daniel's throwing in the lion's den. These are examples of things that happened in the month of Nisan, specifically the Nisan 15. So back to slide 9, Nisan 15 is the middle of April. Coincidentally, that time point is between 70 and 100 days. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a biblical event coming. It's going to be something that we've never seen. We can compare it to something like the angel of death, but we've never seen the angel of death. We've read about it. But at that time, I don't think, the amount of people on the earth is nothing to what it is now. Think about how many people lived in Israel and Egypt, and that was just an area of the world, but that was technically the world. But then now what you got a worldwide, we've got apparently 8 billion people on the earth. So what I'm trying to say is the amount of people on the earth right now is staggering. is an incredible amount of people on the earth. And there is a prophecy from, I know there's 5 prophets, but I can reference 3. Carolyn Dennis. It was a Kent Christmas. Diana Larkin. So there's 3 that specific, and Julie Green. That's 4 actually that reference the angel of death. Okay, so God has spoken through his prophets that the angel of death is on the earth, or angel of death prophecies. I don't care what you have to say. There are 4 prophets that specifically have referenced the angel of death. So that's a real thing. If God's spoken through the prophets, there's an angel of death moment coming. Period. You can't stop it. Carolyn Dennis, her prophecy actually put a number on it. And I'm not sure if people have watched my video, but it's on my YouTube channel. But the video specifically said millions with an S dead in a single night.
Wow.
Kent Christmas said the morgues will be filled. They won't know what to do with all the bodies. So what does that mean? So I'm telling you, there's an event coming. Evil is not going to back down because they only know one thing: kill, steal, and destroy. That's all they know. Evil is not nice. They're not going to, okay, we'll be nice to you now. No, they don't change their tune. They want you dead.
Yeah, you're saying we're in for a rocky potential couple months, is what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely. There's no way around this thing. We're about to go to war. On slide 8, I do believe there's going to be a military conflict, and then that leads into something happening here. And the U.S. dollar, what the Lord showed me yesterday, Noah, see that chart? Starts the art of the deal. What did Trump do? What was the art of the deal? He came into Canada, Canada and Mexico. You guys don't protect our border. You're going to get a 25% tariff. That was the art of the deal, because he knew that they would back down sooner or later, and then within 24 hours they backed down.
They did.
And they sent 10,000 troops, both of them. But what did it do on the charts? It made what's called a right shoulder. So if you look at that chart right there, what's happened is, now no one sees this yet, but I see it. The Lord showed me already. Okay, so and you can't see it. No, I'm showing you what to look at, and this will play out 100%. The Lord already showed me. Okay, so what you're looking at is called a head and shoulders. So the U.S. dollar, this is the U.S. dollar chart, which is not, it's Federal Reserve note, the banker's money. It made a shoulder in November. In December, it made a head, and just now it made what's called a right shoulder. A right shoulder, that's it. So it makes the shoulder comes up, it touches what it did on the left shoulder, and then it turns down. People, the U.S. dollar is in a death spiral. You just don't see it yet. The U.S. dollar is going to plunge in March. It's going to keep going down into March, and then plunge in March. You don't see it yet, but Lord showed me the charts. He showed me the cycle pattern on it. It's incredible. And he showed me what the dollar is about to do. So the dollar is about to plunge. It's going to plunge in the month of March, and then continue on anyway. And that's not even the end of it. Okay, so if the dollar is going to plunge, going to go down, guess what the opposite of the dollar is?
Yeah, well, that means gold and crypto go sky high.
Bingo. Okay, yeah. So gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies are the opposite of the U.S. dollar. And so I don't care what anybody says. The chart the Lord showed me, he gets credit, is 100% accurate. I've looked forwards and I've looked backwards, and the accuracy is incredible. It lines up with my crypto charts. It lines up with such precision. It's kind of wild to see. So the dollar's in a down cycle. People don't see it yet, but they will see it here soon. Okay, so the dollar's about to plunge, and because of that, cryptos and gold, silver go opposite, and it's going to be very exciting what's coming, but scary at the same time too, because something's causing this. When these events happen, there's an event causing it. In other words, just like when we saw when that right there, you're looking at the U.S. dollar spike vertical on February 2nd, Monday. Canadian dollar plunged down on Monday. Okay, you see, so that the candlesticks, those chart patterns, those candlesticks represent events. And so I've already seen the candlesticks for March and February. I'm not releasing them to anybody, but I've seen them and I know what the chart candlesticks are. And so I don't know the event that's going to cause it, but I would assume it's going to most likely something with the war. Just like I saw in advance the candlesticks in November, or even this past weekend, I saw the candlestick for crypto. It was going to drop, it was going to drop on Sunday, Monday. Boom, it happened, right? And so the candlesticks are set. The events are yet to occur, but the cycle precedes the event. And so the event is already set in stone, and we're just waiting for that event to manifest, and then the cycle is just waiting for it, and the pattern is going to play out. So we're coming close to things happening, and February is going to be what we're only 5 days in, and like it's already getting crazy. Wait till March hits. We've seen January was wild in terms of events that were manifesting. Now we're stepping into February, and it's going to get more wild. So now we're really starting to see the truths come out. Trump is really doing a great job in getting people into their positions right now. Everyone's doing what they need to do. Truths are coming out. The left is freaking out. All the pieces are coming together. The left is not going to go out without a fight to the death. That's the point we want to make here. This is a fight to the death, and it's going to be horrific for some. It's called, Joel 2, 234, 231. It says the great and terrible day. A better word would be not only great, but wonderful and horrible. You see, so there it is right there. It's Joel 2:31, the great and terrible day of the Lord. It's coming. And if there was a time point or a month that I would throw at that, I would say there's a huge probability that we're looking at that to be in the month of April. And why? Because April is that Nissan time period where I referenced all those events of April. And so things are happening. We do need biblical intervention, because otherwise this is going to be another 4-year battle, uphill battle for Trump. And again, the prophecies, the prophets have spoken. There will be a wealth transfer. It's coming. You can't stop it. Mm-hmm. And God has also spoken to the prophets that he will intervene and make a way. We read the prophecy of Kim Clement, and it was directly referencing, even though it was about oil, it was directly referencing that the changes would come in the new year. Remember that prophecy? We just read it. Yep. The changes are going to come in the new year. It was on slide 16. The new year doesn't start specifically on the Hebrew clock until the 30th of March. And furthermore, March 1 is on the Roman calendar. So we're at a point where, and this is all the setup, because right there, that slide, if you're looking at right there for the rebirth of America, This is all the setup. The calculations are all setting up we're in a 6-month window between inauguration and the 4th of July. Why? Because it's a 40-week window. So from the U.S. eclipse plus 6 days to the exact day inauguration, childbirth is 40 weeks. Mm-hmm. Star of Jacob, 40 weeks forward, 4th of July. So there's a 6-month window between the eclipse and the Star of Jacob, just like there's a 6-month window between the U.S. inauguration and the 4th of July. So all of this is a setting up for the 4th of July, which is going to be that time point that you and I have spoken about. We thought this was last year, but it was. We thought the bullet going through Trump was the strange July, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I do not believe that was a strange July because of the calculations. The strange July prophecy is setting up for this July. Oh, and that's because we're looking at right there. So something, because we're looking for the rebirth of America after the fall. So in other words, things get exposed in such an incredible way that it's finished for them. And now these people are fleeing for the hills, whoever are left. Because July is the shifting point. That then sets the stage for. Wait a minute. You're telling me that July we just lived through with the assassination was unlike anything I've ever seen. But you're telling me this year's going to surpass that? It's going to have to, because the calculations that I'm showing, if you go back to slide 26,
Wow.
and the one you're looking at right there, slide 26 basically tells us that this is the end of a 248-year calculation this July.
Oh.
So from the Declaration of Independence, it's a 248-year cycle. We've covered that before in the slides. So the 248 years right now, this is year 248. Okay. So we're in the year 248. The 248th year ends on the 3rd of July. The exact date. So therefore, the 4th of July starts the next cycle of time. In other words, it's a shifting time point for the world, for humanity. But specifically the world, because this is all about covenant. And why this is so important, because the most important thing to God is covenant with man, man's covenant with God. And the covenant that was made by the founding fathers will complete this 4th of July, so God will restore it. And then a new one begins. And then so something, and then again, a circumcision is a covenant with God. So from the 3rd of July, you add 8 days of circumcision. There it is right there, the 8th day. That takes you to, again, I think it's fun, 7/11, but basically July 11th, 7/11 is the time point, which is basically indicating that will be some type of an event or something happens where we make a new covenant with God. And then that sets the stage for the fall, for the they fall and fall.
Wow.
So we haven't even seen they fall and fall. So we haven't seen Summer the Mediator between spring and fall. And we're just setting this, we're only in spring. So we haven't even got to spring yet. So spring brings joy in spring. Then that takes us to strange July and the Summer the Mediator, and then leads us into the they fall and fall. So we are only stepping into the greatest time point in human history. Cycles, calculation, calendars indicate massive shifts begin March and specifically April, because April is now now God's intervening. March is they're coming in. So I would say, way to look at this, March is their final stand, them getting pinned into a corner, they're doing the final thing they can do. And then in April is when God steps in. Yeah,
and you've mentioned this before, but I think it's so good to mention again, especially on the heels of what you just said. So far, Trump has gotten most of the credit. Trump won the election, and even throw in Elon too. Trump and Elon, they're doing it together and saving the nation, and they won the election, and that's great. And there's a big element of that that's true, but there needs to be this moment where God gets the credit, and that means it needs to be something so supernatural, something so profound that there's no doubt that Trump didn't
that there is a God and God stepped in.
So that's the kind of event that we're looking for here. March, April, summer. That's what's still coming. It might be the 10 days of darkness. It might be 10 days where it looks like Trump is dead. That's been out there. And so who knows? But that's what we are looking for. And I think it's just been so good that you've said that. And just like we haven't had some of these things happen yet, we haven't had think about
this, right? So this is a 6,000 year calculation. And specifically, we can more narrow it down to 248 years since the Declaration of Independence. There's one day near the end of these 248 years that God intervenes, or more so in the past even 2,000 years. We're just waiting for one day in these. So since the birth of Jesus, there's one day that's coming in our lifetime, very probably like this year, I would say, that we've been waiting for 2,000 years. Think about that. And that one day changes the course of history. Let that sink in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
what a time to be alive and to be living through all this. It's just It's fascinating. I want to put this on the screen. This is your Bitcoin index. The website is gold2020forecast.com. And I just want to say again, this is not for everybody. If you've just had a good time listening to this interview and taking up all the value Bo's been giving you, that's awesome. I flashed up the link to get the slides, and I'll put the link down below too. You can grab Bo's slides for free. But if you want a little bit more information, if you want the exact, when Bo's looking at his time cycles and when he sees, well, this is the day where things are going to turn up or down. If you want those exact reports, the daily breakdowns, deep analysis on a per coin basis, Bo breaks it all down. He's got a Bitcoin section, XRP, all the other ones, Theta's in there. All the coins that you see on the screen right here are covered in that report. If that's you, if you'd like to get that, go to gold2020forecast.com. Make sure you plug in the code WLT49 as you're signing up for that. There's going to be a box for a discount code. Bo always rewards the family here, the Daily Truth Report family, with a 50% off coupon there. So that'll come right off the top of your order. And then you can get in, read all the past reports, or get all the future ones. That's if you want it. And then the other thing that Bo has that I always like to talk about, because I know it's helped so many people, and I've read all your messages saying thank you for this. Not to me, but thank you to Bo for creating this, is the Easy Crypto School, easycryptoschool.com. If you're one of those people, and they say sometimes you have to hear something 5 or 6 or 7 times before it really sinks in. Psychological studies say that. And if that's you, if you're like, man, I've been hearing about Bitcoin, I know I need to do something, but I've just been putting it off because it's intimidating to me, or I just get nervous. I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to lose money. I don't want to fall victim to a scam. I don't even know what website to go to, or how to safely buy stuff, or where to safely store it, or who I can trust. You're going to want to go to the easycryptoschool.com. And Bo has it's a course. It's a class that you can go through at your own pace, at your own schedule. Rewind stuff, go back and watch it again, do it again until it sinks in. But it's all in there. You can go at your own pace, and it'll teach you how to do this. If you don't know anything about cryptocurrency, but you want to, it'll take you from not knowing anything to knowing how to do it safely. So that's easycryptoschool.com. And again, same thing. Bo's going to give you a discount for being part of our family here and watching this. Type in WLT49 in the checkout box on that, and it'll knock 50% off your order there too. So, Bo, thanks for putting those together. Thanks for always giving us a coupon code to use here. Appreciate it.
Bottom line is it's coming. You can't stop us coming. It's going to be a lot of movement. There's a time point coming up here that's going to be very big move for precious metals, cryptocurrencies. And, I hope people have positioned, have listened to our podcast and are ready for what's coming. You can't stop it. And with Trump in office right now, there's a massive shift that's coming to this world. And when Trump said golden age, people don't even know what that means. They don't understand what it means. But as the next few months here roll along, it's going to become very obvious what that means.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Bo, thanks for coming back on. If you want his dates, there's some big moves coming up in the not too distant future. You can get those exact dates if you want, or just buy and hold. I've been doing that since 2017. But Bo, thanks for coming on. I am so excited for February. I can't wait to take this ride and to see crypto do what it's going to do. And then we'll definitely have you back on as we navigate some of these rough waters politically. Everything that you talked about, March, April, we've got some big things coming up, folks. It's not going to get any easier for a while. There's still some trouble to go through. That when you have a rabid dog backed into a corner, they lash out when that last final bite. So, Bo, we'll have you back on and help us navigate those waters in the future. But thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Noah. God bless you and all your viewers. So be well.